The sports generals are on patrol. A salute to you. Welcome to today's show. I am Unger to the Max, but you can just call me the Max. Shout out to my Pittsburgh Steelers fellow contributors, JB4 or Cold Steel 412 and Steel Twins. They're the ones that gave me that nickname. And of course, to my right, that
Yo,
is my co-host, the host of Manalytics, or the host of the official Manalytics, as usual. Wanted to make sure I got that name right.
appreciate it.
Jason Von Young, and as you can see by his little name tag, bye bye Baker Mayfield.
Yes, sir.
Yes, this Baker Mayfield saga, era, is over in Cleveland. He has been traded to the Carolina Panthers for a conditional fifth round pick. It could turn into a fourth round pick if Baker plays a certain amount of time. So it's kind of fitting. I have these game posters up that or roster posters. They gave these out for a while at games, and right here is the one from when Baker Mayfield was on it.
That's the one when he was good, actually.
Yeah, it was no, it was the 20. It was his rookie season
Yeah,
against the Chargers.
yeah, he was good his rookie season. And then it didn't really pan out. But hey, I wish him nothing but the best.
Yeah, and people are already trying to make a whole storyline of like, oh, the Panthers host the Browns in Week 1, and what if the what if the Panthers start Baker Mayfield and to go against his former team and blah 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 blah. I don't think the Panthers are going to start Baker Week 1. It seems like they're very high on Sam Darnold, which I have no idea why. But either way, yeah, we don't have to deal with Baker Mayfield anymore. We don't have to deal with, is he staying? Is he going? Could he start if Deshaun Watson is suspended? Which I think that whole thing was fantasy from the very start. If Deshaun Watson is suspended, it's going to be Jacoby Brissett starting for us.
Yes, and just to go back to the comments you made about the Panthers and why they're so big on Sam Darnold, it's because they paid him that 19 million when they gave him that extension for the extra years on his rookie contract. So it's kind of like they need. Well, they seem like they're big on him, even though they just traded for the number one pick in the same draft. So Panthers is trying whatever they can do to try to, I guess, redeem one of these quarterbacks. They will be battling it out in preseason, or in training camp and in preseason. But like you alluded to, Josh, I do think that Sam Darnold may be the starter come week 1, and then eventually they'll move on to Baker Mayfield. But hey, that's their problem to figure out. Again, I wish them nothing but the best. Good luck.
Yeah. Um, you go from, I won't say one of the best head coaches in the NFL. I think Stefanski still needs to prove himself a little bit. I would say, I'll say it like this. You go from a head coach who could be on the rise in Stefanski to and being in an offense that could possibly work for you to an offensive system in Carolina where Matt Rule is your head coach. Oh, but trust me, it gets worse because guess who the Panthers' offensive coordinator is? I
No, you
can't
good,
believe
boy.
I actually have to say this, but Ben McAdoo is
Right.
the offensive coordinator. Let me
The guy
say
with
that.
the porn mustache, the '70s porn mustache from the New York Giants. You talk about that guy?
Yes, that guy. He is the offensive coordinator for the Panthers. Why? I have no fucking clue. Um, I would say the Panthers are one of the worst ran organizations in the NFL.
That's fair. I agree with that. Absolutely.
And that's not to throw shade on the Panthers or Panthers fans, because I'm sure Panthers fans love are great and all that. I'm actually trying to get down to Carolina for that Week 1 game against the Panthers. We'll see if it actually works out or not. But in the meantime,
They got a lot. They got a lot going on in North Carolina. I mean, to be real, they already have a competitive division, which includes the Saints, includes the Buccaneers. They got their work cut out for them, and then the fact that they don't have any type of stability just in front and upper management throughout the entire team. We gonna see how we gonna really see the real side of Baker. Um, they do have some good pieces. Okay, they do got a few good starlets. For one, they got one of the best running backs in the league in McCaffrey.
when he's
Uh,
healthy,
when he's healthy, right? We got to emphasize when he's healthy because they ran him to the ground, and it's just a matter of time before they can't keep doing what they did with him. So um, they got their work cut out for him, man. And I'm sure Baker will miss the offensive line he had here and just the talent in general.
yeah. I mean, sure, him and Odell Beckham Jr. never quite got on the same page here in Cleveland for one reason or another. I'm not going to throw shade on either one of them because I just don't want to get into that territory. But, like, even still, the Panthers don't have a wide receiver the caliber of Odell Beckham Jr.
No, but DJ Clark, he's pretty good. He's
Oh, you
pretty
mean,
good.
oh,
I mean DJ Moore.
DJ
Yeah,
Moore, the
my
wide
bad.
receiver from they drafted out of Maryland.
Absolutely, yes. They have a few pieces, but they're not on Odell's caliber at all.
Correct.
And it's a reunion because I'm not sure if you remember, but Hollywood Higgins, who was Baker's favorite target here, is in Carolina as well. So I wonder how that'd pan out.
Was Hollywood Higgins really that big of an impact receiver here in Cleveland?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Exactly.
But it seemed like Baker seemed to love him. So hey, hopefully that'll help out too there.
I mean, I will say this in defense of Rashard Higgins, which he does not deserve the Hollywood nickname. The only receiver in the division who should have been given that nickname was Hollywood Brown. But now
I'm with you.
he's out of the division because the Ravens stupidly traded him to Arizona. But we can get into that discussion at a different point, closer to football season. Which, by the way, we'll get back to Baker in a sec. But I want to point this out. I think I saw somewhere this is the last month without NFL football until
Yes,
March
sir.
until March of next year.
Yes, sir. So, hey, all of the, let's say the significant others that have a problem with guys like me watching the game versus wanting to go have family time, we apologize in advance.
Yes. You see this Guardians pennant that I have up? I'm probably going to take that down and I'm going to put up the rest of my posters and get ready for my video collaborations I'm doing this season. Um,
Oh,
so,
okay.
yeah. So,
Preparing for the future.
yes.
Okay.
I
I
may
like it.
take down this Baker one. We'll see. I'm undecided about that.
Use it as you could use it as like a mat. Use it as a, say a dartboard. I'm sure we could find some way to get creative with that poster.
All right. All right. But anyway, getting back to this whole Baker Mayfield situation, I think I saw the Panthers like Super Bowl odds went down from 125 to 1 down to 100 to 1 cuz Baker makes such a huge difference. No, he doesn't.
Right.
Okay. is it a stretch to say that Baker Mayfield is the worst of the four starting quarterbacks in the NFC South? Brady, Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota, Baker Mayfield. Let's just
Damn.
take those four, okay?
Yeah.
It is it too much of a stretch to say he's the worst quarterback in that division?
Man, that that's damn, that's tough right there, right? Of course, we will want to say Jameis Winston is right, but him and Baker is the same guy, and we talked about this a few episodes ago, where when we could have potentially, had to make a decision to get Jameis Winston in free agency, we didn't, but it almost got to that point. But him and Baker, they're the same guy. One just happens to be a little bit more athletic than the other. But besides that, they throw turnovers. They make bad critical decision making skills when a team kind of needs them to not think that way. And the difference between him and Baker is he's with the Saints, who has a good upper management, a good controlled team and environment, and he knows and is familiar with that system. So, with that being the case, Baker is unfortunately ranked number 4 in the NFC South, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, him and Marcus Mariota are kind of in the same situation because, Mariota is presumably going to be the Atlanta Falcons starting quarterback. So he's going to, I know Mariota was with uh, Arthur Smith in Tennessee, but still, Mariota's going to have to relearn that playbook. And if the Falcons have any other new plays and styles of offense, Mariota's going to have to learn that. Baker's in the same situation. Not that he's necessarily going to have to forget everything that he did in Cleveland, because maybe the Panthers will do something similar, although it's Ben McAdoo, so probably not.
But I will say this, in Baker's defense, the guy has had to learn 4 new offices within a 5-year span. So, what's the 5th one, right? I think he's kind of mastered the speed learning system when it comes to learning a new offensive system and format. So he may have the upper edge in that particular field because of that.
Yeah, I'll give you that one. And for those of you watching, I'm not trying to shit on Baker Mayfield or just say, oh, he's a bad quarterback and all this and that. I'm just giving you my honest opinion based on what I've seen from him on the field and all that.
Yeah, it's the film.
Yeah, that's how I operate. I get it. Baker Mayfield has had, like you said, Jay, 4 different offensive coordinators in his time. He had Todd Haley as one of his offensive coordinators. He had Alex Van Pelt as his offensive coordinator this past season. I'm trying to remember his other offensive coordinator.
Definitely, he had a. And I'm not in my office right now, so I could bail you out. But he has had over 4. The most notable one, and yes, Van Pelt, he was on paper the offense coordinator, but we all know Stefanski pretty much was controlling that offense. Okay, but man, the kid, he can learn it. That's one thing he does have when it comes to learning new formats and systems. He can do that, but can he translate that onto the field? That's yet to be seen.
Yeah. I will say I think we have to give Baker a little bit of the benefit of the doubt from last year because he was playing injured. But by the same token, Baker, you knew how badly you were injured. You had a freaking torn labrum, for God's sakes. There was no need to be like, look, Cleveland, I'm a tough man. Look at me. Look at me.
He's a macho man.
Yeah. Yeah, look at me. I'm a tough man. What the
Right.
what the fuck was that? Where did that come from?
Yeah, I mean, that's always been his DNA, though. He has that macho. Hey, I'm tough. Yes, I may be bleeding, but I don't need a band-aid. Just give me some liquor, and I'll pour it on my cut. He's one of those type of guys, and to a degree, that helps. That helps get the team motivated, but sometimes you got to use your smarts. And he obviously should have understood that if you can't throw and you can't throw with accuracy for a contract year, maybe you should just set it down, get ready for the following year. But he didn't do so.
Right. Like I remember against Minnesota, there were which is kind of when this whole Odell thing started. Not to keep harping on that, but it's kind of hard not to in this situation. But like you go back and watch that Vikings game. Shout out to my man Minnesota Vikings man 28. Can't wait to do a video collaboration with you again when the Browns play the Vikings in the near future. Uh, but anyway,
They'll be pretty good this year, I think.
yeah, we can talk about
Mhm,
that in the show down the line. But
mhm.
like getting back to that game and my overall point, like there were a couple throws where if Baker just hits Odell in the proper spot, Odell could have possibly gotten away from the defense and scored a touchdown and really blown that game open
True.
instead of it being a 14-7 game.
That's
You
true.
know, and with the Chargers game, normally you don't get that type of game. So I get it. Baker had a above average game against the Chargers, and people are gonna say, "Oh, the officials cost us that game, or the defense, whatever." But
Mm.
you see my point.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he had it. That was one of his most solid games. Um, Again, his best year was his rookie season, which is unfortunate, but it really was from a statistical standpoint. But he did have some bright spots in the season, but it was plagued by his overall down play. That Chargers game is a like a one or like a one up or once a season type of game for any type of team. But it was high scoring, it was competitive, but it illustrates the issues with Baker, which is the final drive when you need Baker to come through. What is
Yes,
Baker going to do? You know what I mean?
yes,
That's what was on full display.
right. There were too many times last season where it was like, "Okay, Baker, we need you to lead this offense on a 2-minute drive down the field to get us in a position to win this game." It
Right.
happened against the Steelers early in the season. It happened against the Chargers, like you just mentioned. It
Hmm.
happened against Baltimore when Lamar Jackson threw what, like 4 interceptions, and we
Right.
lost.
Exactly.
And I'm sure sorry, there are other games that I'm missing, but those are just the few that I can think of. And everybody's going to say, "Oh, but Baker led the Browns to the playoffs in 2020 and he beat the Steelers in the wild card round." No, the Browns did not. The Browns did not go to the playoffs because of Baker Mayfield. They went to the playoffs with Baker Mayfield. There's a major difference between the two. Um,
Mm.
think about this. Like the Cincinnati Bengals last year in their run to the Super Bowl, they got to the Super Bowl because of Joe Burrow. They didn't get to the Super Bowl with Joe Burrow. The
Hmm.
Kansas City Chiefs, they've gone to the heights they have because of Patrick Mahomes, not with Patrick Mahomes. Why do you think New England was so successful when they had Brady? I know part of it was because of Bill Belichick, but it was because of Tom Brady, not with Tom Brady. I
That's
could give you
true.
countless examples. Buffalo Bills, they've gotten to the heights they've gotten to because of Josh Allen, not with Josh Allen. Whereas the Browns, again, they got to the playoffs with Baker Mayfield, not because of him.
Totally agree. And like I said, in this league, there's two types of quarterbacks. There's a wagon quarterback, and then there is a what you call a trailer quarterback. Okay, I mean a wagon quarterback, and then there's a horse quarterback. Horse quarterback is going to carry the team. It's going to push everyone forward. You need help? Jump on my back. I got you. But a trailer quarterback, they need everything in front of them to be good in order for them to be successful. And that, from the film, from a statistic standpoint, that is in Baker's DNA. That's what we've seen time in and time out with that guy.
Yeah. I'll even take it a step further. When we did make the playoffs in 2020, I would say we went to the playoffs and had the success we did beating Pittsburgh because of the run game with Chubb and Hunt. Now, in the Steelers game, or in that wild card game against the Steelers, actually, it doesn't matter how you say it in this particular case, but part of the reason we won that game pretty handily, albeit the score was the difference in the final score was only 11, but it was a lot larger than that. But it was because the Steelers just kept shooting themselves in the foot and giving the Browns short fields to work with.
Yeah.
It wasn't like Baker Mayfield played outstanding where it's like, oh my God, that's why he was drafted number 1 overall. You know.
It was a lot of turnovers. We went up, for crying out loud, we was up 35 to what, 7 in the second quarter. So of course hopefully he would have did something with their lead. So yeah, it's to say that Baker did that and he's responsible for our comeback. No, that is not true at all. And I agree with you on that.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying from earlier about Carolina having good pieces. I'm not ready to say they have nice pieces on offense. But again, the problem is we don't know if Christian McCaffrey is going to be healthy all season long. And what do the Panthers like to do? They like to swing their court, or they like to put Christian McCaffrey out wide and use him as a wide receiver. You do that with Baker Mayfield, you could possibly get Christian McCaffrey in position to be injured for the entire season again.
Yeah, it's the risk you take. When you make these type of gambles. I think that the Panthers made this decision solely on the fact that, hey, we got a number 1 pick and we got a number 3 pick. So yeah, one man's trash is another team's treasure. And that's what they're banking on. But man, the film don't lie. Sam Darnold, he makes a lot of careless mistakes that cost his team. And the same thing with Baker. And the only difference between the two guys is really where they were picked and really their height. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Like, yeah, Baker Mayfield's in a new system and all that, but he's still pretty short. It's not like he's going to be able to look over the offensive line and see what the defense is doing. And I don't think he's going to change his ways in his post. Looks like oh, there you are. But I don't think Baker's going to change his ways in terms of post snap reads where he just locks on to one receiver when another receiver could be wide open. Baker's just like, nope, I want to throw it to only Robbie Anderson. I'm only going to look at Robbie Anderson when DJ Moore could be wide open down the field. You know.
I totally agree with you in that regards. It's going to be interesting, man, because it comes down to whose fault was it that why the marriage didn't work. Was it Baker's fault? Was it our? Was it just bad timing? I think everything's going to be on display, especially the way the contract was worked out.
Yeah. Um, but the thing is that shoot, what was I just? Oh, yeah, lost my train of thought for a second. But when you look at it, like I don't. Let's say Baker does start week one. I, let's say the Browns go on to win that game by a large margin. Does that necessarily mean it was Baker Mayfield's fault? No. Let's say the Panthers pull one out of their ass and actually win that game. Does that mean it was the Browns' fault? No. I don't think one game is going to determine who was right and who was wrong. You agree with that?
Yeah, that's true, but it's going to be other factors that come into this. And yes, it seems like it's a long time away, but we all know that first week is going to roll up quickly. Um, it's a lot of factors that are going to go into it. That's if he's even starting. So we will see, man. Again, I think Darnold maybe week one starter, but that's out there. We'll see, man. That's all I can really say.
Right. I'm looking at the odds right now for Browns Panthers. The Browns are currently a 1 point favorite against the Panthers. Doesn't have
You said
anything.
a 1 point favorite.
Yes,
Oh, that seemed like that's too close.
I know. My guess is the point spread will get bigger as we get closer to week one, but we'll see. Geez, Cincinnati is favored by 6.5 against Pittsburgh. Wow.
Wow. Are we still favored against them?
Against Pittsburgh or
Yes, sir.
Cincinnati?
Yeah, Pittsburgh.
Let's see. Uh, it doesn't have the. I'm looking on the matchup predictor on the ESPN app. It gives us a 71.2% chance to win that game against Pittsburgh.
We'll see. We will see, man.
Yeah. We shall see. And we shall see what's going to happen with Kevin Durant and whether or not he's going to be a Brooklyn Net. As of right now, he still is a Brooklyn Net. Nothing has happened with that. It doesn't sound like there are any trades that are gaining any traction or steam. So I feel like this is a lose-lose situation if Durant goes back to Brooklyn, or is forced to go back to Brooklyn, I should say.
Right.
Uh so
Yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see. KD, KD's going to KD the situation anytime he can. Of course, he picked the day after LeBron, after Kyrie decides go ahead and do his extension. But he did create a ripple effect around the NBA. So I don't know exactly what this guy is going to do. I don't know what the team is going to do because now they've changed their stance where they are demanding they get a elite all-star player in return, as well as a say a draft pick compensation package. So the only teams that's equipped to do that really is Golden State.
yeah, that there's been a lot of talk that he could go back to Golden State. I I don't know.
Hmm.
Do you think that how much would that affect his legacy? I'll say it
Well,
like that.
I think his legacy's already affected, though. So it's just a matter of um, will it take away from some of the hit? No, it's probably going to increase it a little bit more. If they win, how does that impact his legacy after that? Like, let's say he go on to win, let's say two more rings, right? I think it's still no. It's just some people that don't like him, some people that don't want to like him, and with this new move, it's hard to even like the guy. So Man, I think his legacy is still going to be the same. It's still going to be consistent regardless.
Yeah, and
Mm.
with his whole legacy, it feels like his legacy is already kind of tainted. Because think about this: um, back in 2016, him and Russell Westbrook and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Coincidentally, I just decided to wear my Russell Westbrook Thunder jersey shirt today, but they were up 3 games to one against the Golden State Warriors. You know, the team that won a record-setting 73 games.
Right.
But we all know what would go on to happen. OKC would go on to blow a 3-1 series lead and yada, yada, yada. And then that summer, what does Kevin Durant do? He goes, you know what? I'm going to go join the team that came back to beat me. Now, I understand from what I've heard from certain talking heads, it was Steph, Clay, Draymond, and others who went crawling to Kevin Durant, like, oh, please come save us, because otherwise we can't beat LeBron James. I don't know how much validity there is to that, so I'm not going to speculate and say who's right, who's wrong, all that type of stuff. I'm just
Mhm.
saying I've heard. Have you heard that story as well?
No, I did. Yeah, I heard that story as well. They was in the Hamptons, and they called it the Hampton. That's why they called them the Hampton Five because
Mm,
of that moment. And yeah, they went crawling. In fact, it really originated when the moment they lost to the Cavs after being up 3-1 in the finals. Draymond Green is in the parking lot. He's crying. He's hurt. He's crushed. Manhood. He's trying to find it. And he calls Kevin Durant. And then from that phone call, it blossomed into them winning 2 titles. Now, yes, they crawled. They showed, let's say, they put their pride aside, right? I mean, what's wrong with KD doing the same thing, right? So, I tried to leave, mom. I tried to leave, dad, but unfortunately, I can't make it out here in the world, so I need to come back home. Is my room still available? That's what he did, and you know, I mean, at this stage, he might as well get out the way. But from a package standpoint, Golden State has an abundance of talent that they can go ahead and get to the Nets in return. So that's really the only option I'm showing as far as what the Nets want, as far as making him happy. But man, it's a screwed up situation anyway you look at
yeah. Um, and here's the thing too. You know, staying with that whole him going to Golden State thing. Think about the teams he like first said he wanted to go to: Miami and Phoenix. Well, guess who were the two number one seeds in the playoffs this past season? Phoenix and Miami. Sure,
it.
sure the playoff seeds this past season were a little bit fraudulent because we ended up with a number 2 seed and number 3 seed in the NBA Finals with Boston and Golden State. I get it, but still, when you look at the standings and just go by record alone, it was Miami and it was Phoenix at the top of their respective conferences. So with this, I feel like that also hurts Durant's legacy by saying, "Nope, I don't want to go to, you know, a young team that could develop into something like, say,
Mm,
the Cavaliers or say the Toronto Raptors. I
mhm.
want to go to a established championship contender like
Yeah,
Phoenix and Miami."
it's unfortunate, man. It just shows you again, he's not an alpha. He goes where the help. He goes where the help is already there and is needed. Is not needed rather. Where all he has to do is just go there, perform, shoot, play ball. Don't worry about having to be a leader. He's just gonna come along for the ride. And you can't knock it. I mean, some people are cut that way, some people not. It's just that with his skill set that you would think because it's such a rare commodity that he has that why would you want to resort to that? Like, we are expecting you to be a leader because we haven't seen this before. And it's just not in him, like mentally. So, I mean, it is what it is. You know, he's a scorer, he's a role player, he's an elite all star caliber role player. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah. How much do you think Portland is regretting not drafting him number 1 overall? I think that was in the '07 draft, if I remember correctly.
Hmm.
Yeah, they took Greg Oden number 1 overall, and Seattle, while they were still in the league, they drafted Kevin Durant.
Hmm. Greg Odom was that. Like, if you guys remember when Greg Odom played for Ohio State, he was dominant, man. Yeah, yeah, he will always get into foul trouble like in the first half, and it's like, damn, why you got to keep fouling people? Just chill. But he was dominant. But bevy of injuries, it just wasn't in his favor, man. He had a short career. So at the time, it felt like they were making the right decision, and then you see Durant putting up these numbers, and it's like, oh man, we picked the wrong guy. But they made the right decision at that time, man.
Right. I'm not trying to knock Portland and say, it was a bad decision or anything, but I would think looking back, they would be like,
It
oh,
was a bad
shit.
decision. It was a bad decision.
Yeah. At the time, they were probably like, oh, shit. Like, why did we not take Durant?
They was trying to overthink the situation.
Right.
Got to trust
Then
the
again,
board. Yep.
if they had drafted Durant, who knows if a couple years later or whatever it was, who knows if they would have been in position to draft Dame.
You got a point, man. Like, stuff happened for a reason. I know people hate hearing that, but it really is. That's how life is. Something may happen. We may question why that thing happened, but that thing that happened because something in the future is going to happen later, and it's all going to make itself even.
Yeah. I don't think this is going to happen, but if we were to make a trade for Kevin Durant here in Cleveland, what do you think the Cavs would have to give up in order to make a trade with Brooklyn for Durant?
Yeah, well, based off of what upper management's request is, they're thinking, and again, I'm gonna give you two spectrums of this. The Nets is thinking um, we want for one, the what they're probably gonna try to fleece us, okay? So they're gonna want to get um, our two top players. They think that they're gonna get a few ones, and they might want to take call the sexy just to sweeten the pot. But that's a hell no for me. Like, absolutely not. Um, I love Darius Garland. I love what he brings to our team. I think he's nothing short but phenomenal. Our rookie, um, a sensation, right? Some say
Oh, you mean Evan Mobley?
Evan Mobley. I compared him to Kevin Garnett slash Chris Bosh. Okay, but he don't have that bite that Kevin Garnett has, and he's going to develop that over time. And I know for a fact that if we went to the playoffs, that hard play, physicality that would have developed, that would have been good for his growth. But he still got the talent, man. He still got the jumper. He still has great footwork. He is he he's smooth with the ball, right? Same with Darius Garland. He's like a man. Not a lot of people could just. It's like ice skating, you know. Figure skating is just it's a beautiful sport to watch when it's done nicely, right? On ice, dancing, spinning. That's Darius Garland with the ball. It's just smooth and just a flow. And man, it's just we're not giving those guys up for Kevin Garnett if you guys already know that you're in the limbo and Kevin Garnett wants to leave. Like, that would be just stupid. So
Right.
that's who they want.
Right. You mean Kevin Durant. You said Kevin
Exactly.
Garnett.
I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry. Yeah, Kevin Durant. So that's what they want. Now, what I would give, call it Sexton, a Coro. I get them 2 1s in the future, and then we're done.
Y- Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
If I were Brooklyn, I would say, yeah, no, go away.
Mhm.
Where the heck are you?
Hey, so it seems like it's a motorcycle crew going on. I'm gonna mute myself for a hot second.
Okay. I think he's at some motorcycle gang or something. um. Anyway, so this whole Kevin Durant thing, it really is going to have a major impact on the rest of the NBA. Like, let's say he gets traded back to the Western Conference. That opens it up for a lot of teams in the Eastern Conference. Like, look at what Atlanta just did by trading for DeJounte Murray to help out with Trae Young. Boston just went to the finals. The year before that, the Milwaukee Bucks won the championship. Philadelphia is still going to be there.
But
Uh,
did it open up the East? Though? Let's think about this, right? They did get swept in the first round. So, like, what exactly is it opening up? No.
True. Yeah, you got a point because in the time they've been together, Durant and Kyrie only have one playoff win. One. That's pathetic.
It's disgraceful.
That
It's
is,
shameful and it's disgraceful.
and I get it. Like, this season, Kyrie was out for basically half the year because of the whole vaccine mandate and, oh, I don't want to get a vaccine and all that. I'm not going to get into my political feelings about him. I've said that. I've said those on past episodes. Don't need to reiterate those. Um, but then the Nets go out and say, "Oh, actually, Kyrie, come back. You can come back part time." And then the vaccine mandate eventually gets lifted, and he's allowed to play. And maybe that is what led to this whole fracturing. Uh, but
I mean, Kyrie is a difficult guy to play with, and the fact that Kevin Durant didn't notice, which is a other, that's also a strike against his thought process, the way he leaders know, right? Leaders kind of have a clue on what type of soldiers they have to go to war with, and the fact that he didn't notice, even more of a reason why he's only a role player.
right, and not like a lead dog or alpha male,
Yeah,
however you want to say it.
exactly. He's a good scorer. It's probably one of the best scores we've seen in recent memory, but that's about it.
Yeah, surefire Hall of Famer, no doubt about it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely going to the Hall of Fame for sure. But is he the guy that's going to lead your team to a championship? No. Is he the team? Is he the type of guy that needs the team structured and then he'll help add to win the championship? Yeah.
Right,
Wagons and trailers,
right.
or
Like
horses and trailers, right?
when when he went to Golden State, it was still Steph's team, just like it is now. I mean, it was
Mhm.
very evident this past season in the finals, especially. It is 100. Golden State is 100% Steph's team, but even going into that summer, it was Steph's team, albeit he came up smaller than he really is in the 2016 finals, games 5 through 7. Like, Steph, why are you trying a behind the back pass in game 7 when you could have just made a simple bounce pass to Klay Thompson? He could have knocked down a three, and you guys could have been back to back NBA champions. Now,
You know?
as a Cavaliers fan, thankfully he didn't do that and he made the bonehead play to go, you know what? I'm going behind the back. But,
I'm
you
glad he
know,
did it. I'm glad he did it. But no, just to go back to that, yes, it was Steph's team. It's always going to be Steph's team. Um, however, even though it was Steph's team, he still was the best player on the court, hands down. And that's something that's Kevin Durant, like we said, he's always had the talent. That's not a problem, right? Even when it's the Team USA playing, he's the best player in the world on the court at the time. So there's no taking away from that, but he needs all the other stuff to be in place for him to shine.
Exactly. Like there's a reason him and Russell Westbrook did not play well together.
Mhm.
They're like
It's true.
West yeah.
Westbrook had that dog, If let's say if Durant had Westbrook up here, oh man, he'll mess around and have like 7 championships already, easily. Because Westbrook, even though he's a little off when it comes to the actual um, awareness part of the game, right? But if he had a jumper like Durant has a jumper, we wouldn't have a problem with that. All right, but we have a problem because he doesn't. Now, if Durant has his mindset, oh man, give me the ball, I'm gonna shoot it. Oh, give me the ball, give me the ball. Oh, I'm gonna blaze it up right here, man, and he's gonna more than likely hit those shots. So, I mean, he don't have Westbrook up here. He got Durant up here, and the rest is history.
Yeah. On that note, do you think Russell Westbrook is ultimately going to remain a Los Angeles Laker this coming season? Because I don't. I think he will eventually find himself in the black and white of Brooklyn, and Kyrie Irving will find himself in the purple and gold or purple and yellow, whatever you want to call it. It does not matter. Don't don't at me. All right?
I, you
But
know, I it said they said that trade or talks have stalled. I think that the Lakers realize they're the only ones that's in the Kyrie sweepstakes right now, and we've noticed that the Jenny Buss is trying to regain control of her organization from
and
LeBron and his camp.
failing.
Yeah, yeah. They even, they're reaching out to Phil Jackson now and getting his expertise on certain things. So um, they
Yeah, that
were
just shows
talks were
how
heated
bad
up.
it is.
Hmm.
Like
But
when you gotta go back that far into the early 2000s, early 2010s, yeah, that shows how bad it is in LA.
I mean, that is her ex boyfriend now. So
And yet, Los Angeles is always going to be a Lakers town. No matter what, it's always going to be Lakers town.
that's true.
Even if the
That's true.
Clippers were to win, for example, 2 championships in a row, Los Angeles would probably care for maybe a day.
You
And
know
then
what?
they'd
That's
be
interesting. No, I was gonna
okay.
say that's interesting. You mentioned that, right? Because why haven't we heard about the Clippers in these Durant talks? Right now, if they pull it off, because they kind of have the assets, right? They have, if I'm them, I'm not giving up both George and Kawhi, but they got one of the guys that they could give up to get him. More than likely, it'll probably be Paul George, right? Uh, hey, man, that's a whole different demographic right there because Clippers, they are basically already one player away from getting to conference finals at the minimum. So I'm surprised we haven't heard from them yet.
I don't know if Kawhi and Kevin Durant could work well together. I I feel like they're the same type of player, like what you're saying of neither of
Right
them.
there.
Yeah, I don't. I get it. Like Kawhi won Finals MVP in 2014, and when he got traded to Toronto, they immediately went on to win the championship. So in that sense, he was a one-man band. Although Pascal Siakam played well during stretches of that finals, and
Hmm.
Fred Van had some nice stretches in that playoff run, and Kyle Lowry played well throughout that playoff run. I
And
get it.
and Durant got injured.
Yes, I I think I feel pretty safe in saying if Golden State was fully healthy in the 2019 finals, they run all over Toronto.
Easily.
Yeah,
Go to state of five.
yeah. Obviously, that's not what happened. Toronto would go on to win that championship. Kawhi won Finals MVP. But getting back to my original point, I don't think, like I said, I don't think Durant and Kawhi would work well together because of this. I don't think either of them have that dog, that killer instinct in them.
Yeah, I'm with you. I agree with you. They don't, and he's still Kawhi's still aloof, right? You don't know what the dude's thinking a minute after the championship, so it's hard to read him. You damn sure can't depend on Durant to like motivate him. So it's like the blind leading the blind.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. It's the blind leading the blind. So I get it. Like, we
If they get rid of
haven't.
him, though, let's say they trade him for Kawhi, right? Okay, Paul George, and I've been critical on him a lot, but I got to keep it real. The playoffs the last 2 years, he's been stellar, man. He's stepped his game up. You've been able to depend on him. He's had that gene that we all knew he possessed. You just had to pull it out of him. But he's been playing good, man. So him and Paul George, I think that works.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, I am a little bit surprised, like you are, that we haven't heard anything from the Clippers. Not just with this Kevin Durant thing, but really anything in general. It's like, don't you guys want to get out of the basement and be like, hey, Los Angeles, we're here too?
But
You know,
chips kind of stacked against them, right? They can't. It's always going to be a Lakers time, so they can't. They can never technically get out of the basement or not be the little cousin, right? They're
it's
always going to be there.
it's the same problem the Chargers have, especially because the Rams just won a Super Bowl in SoFi. Like now, let's say the Chargers go on to win the Super Bowl. Well, guess what? The Super Bowl this year is in Arizona. So you didn't win it in Los Angeles, Chargers, which the Chargers should still be in San Diego. They should not be in Los Angeles. So that's your fault, Spanos. That is
Hmm.
your fault. I will never forgive you for that. Because I grew up watching LaDainian Tomlinson play for the
Hmm.
San Diego Chargers, not the damn
Hmm.
Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah, it's weird. It's different. You know, it's an adjustment period, but hey, all it takes for them to win, and they in.
Yeah, granted, like when the 49ers play the Rams, you can't tell if it's a Rams home game or if it's a 49ers home game.
Hey, it don't matter who plays there. It's always it feel like it's a road game, especially if it's like the Cowboys or the Steelers. Like, who's really the home team?
Yeah, so we got about 7 minutes left in the show. Or we may go over on this one. We'll see. But check this out. The New Orleans Saints are going to try and make some history this season. No team has ever beaten all five bird teams in the NFL: Arizona, Atlanta, Baltimore, Philadelphia, and Seattle. No
Where the
team
hell does
has.
that come from? I never even heard this stat, but it's interesting.
Dude, you ought to know me by now. I try and find those obscure stats that nobody talks about or nobody gives a shit about. That's
Hey,
part of
it's
my
interesting though.
that's part of my shtick.
I
Or
think I was
whatever
proud.
word you want, word you want to use that. So yeah, the Saints are gonna try and be the first team to pull that off.
I don't think they're gonna pull that off though. They damn sure ain't gonna beat the Ravens. And you know, yes, it may seem like on paper that's an easy game, Falcons versus Saints, right? But that's a divisional game. All divisional games are always going to be difficult. I don't care how you slice of the dice. It doesn't matter which conference we're talking about. If you're in the same division, you have a lot more film on the opposing team, a lot more history, and you know their pros and cons. So they're going to absolutely probably split one of those games with the Falcons for sure.
Yeah. I wonder if any teams ever beaten all the cat teams in the NFL. The Jaguars, the Lions, the Panthers. Is that it? Oh, and Bengals.
I tell you this, my man Josh, he'll have that stat for you guys next week for sure.
Okay. Oh, you're putting me on the spot now. Damn it.
Hey, you find these type of, you know, these stat. Hey, it's like a did you know? If you watch ESPN Sports Center back in the day, at the end of the show, they always would have a did you know, and they come with those them head scratchers or those things that try to pick stuff out of your brain that you didn't know was there.
Yes. All right. So you want to do some therapy Thursday to wrap the show up?
Sure, let's do it. Let's
All
do
right.
it.
I will go first.
Okay.
American Hockey League, I am calling you out. I want you to change the schedule. Because right now, the Cleveland Monsters, they're the affiliate of the Columbus Blue Jackets. They don't play every team in the league. They play everybody in their division, but they play 4 out of the 8 teams in the Atlantic Division. They play 4 out of the 8 teams in the Central Division, and they play nobody in the Pacific Division. As a Monsters fan here in Cleveland, I want to be able to see every team. Like, what if one of these young guys from, say, the San Jose Barracuda out of the Pacific Division, like, gets called up to the NHL the following season? Well, I can say, hey, I went to the Monsters game where I saw player X, and yeah, I think he could do really well at the NHL level. So I wanted the Monsters to play everybody in the AHL and stop doing these 2-game sets where it's like, oh, on Friday we play Hershey, and then on Saturday we play Hershey again. Stop that.
Yeah, I feel your pain on that, brother. I would say that my beef that I have is with the Cleveland Guardians, right? So Cleveland Guardians has got to be the most streakiest team to ever live. Furthermore, usually around this time of the season, we have a clue on is our baseball team going to be good? Are they going to be average, or are they going to, be terrible? Are they going to be a buyer, or are they going to be a seller come the trade deadline? I have no clue at all what the hell they are. Um, we got swept by the Detroit Tigers. I don't know when the last time we even got swept by those guys. And it just seemed like the Tigers were beating up on everybody like they are Lou Gehrig, Like, what the hell is that about? That's a whole different discussion for another day. But the Guardians, man, are you guys buyers or are you sellers? Because guys like me that care, we need to know. Because y'all just wasting my time. I could be using that time greatly to, let's say, watch the Learning Channel or watch the Weather Channel, do something constructive than watching y'all. So,
Or
Guardians,
watching
get
paint
it together.
dry.
Or paint dry. And I think paint dry, that might be more funner than though.
Hey, by the way, I like I said, I went to the Indy race on Sunday. I posted some footage from that on the channel. But Scott McLaughlin came away with the win. I don't know anything about him. I don't know how long he's been in IndyCar, but good job, Scott McLaughlin. And then on August 24th, I'm not going to say where I'm going yet. I'm going to start dropping hints every show about where it could be. I'm trying to decide if I want to give my first clue this week or if I want to start that next week.
Start it next week. Give them something to clamor for.
All right. So we'll
Worldwide
do
map.
that. All right. Yeah, we'll do that.
I'm with that.
All right, cool. So that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Sports Channels. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you subscribe to the Sports Generals on YouTube. We post every episode on the channel. Subscribe to official Manaligs as usual. Jason has a lot of great content on his channel. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Unger to the Max. Follow the Sports Room Talk Show on Anchor and Spotify, where you'll be able to listen to this episode after we are done recording live on Facebook. Um, Make sure you tune in every Wednesday from 2 to 4 because that's when we do our sibling show. So, What's the Catch with myself, Chirk Berserk, the wild card, James, and Brian. And then follow James and Brian's podcast, Guarding the Corner, on thisisbelieveland.com. You got
Yes.
anything to plug?
Hey, most importantly, it's hot outside. Don't drink beer. Don't drink liquor. Don't drink pop. Don't drink juice. Drink water. Drink your water.
All right. We'll see you next time.
Peace.